Okay, we are doing it. Today, I am sharing everything that I have done to my face and to my body because honestly, I am so over all of the gatekeeping online. I think that social media has also created a very unrealistic standard of natural beauty. People are doing things and they aren't being open or honest about it. And then that skews what our reality is. When we look at someone, it's like, oh, were they born that way? Or did they do something? What is happening? People be looking naturally perfect, but they are not talking about what is actually going on behind the scenes. I'll give you the perfect example, Lindsay Lohan. But before we get into this, I want to make something very clear. This video is not advice. This video isn't here for me to tell you what you should be doing to your face and to your body. I think that everyone needs to do what works for them and what they are comfortable with. And I'm definitely not encouraging people to change themselves. We are all naturally beautiful and gifted. Sometimes we just want a little enhancement, and that is the beauty of being a woman. I am simply sharing my own personal experience because I know a lot of you are curious whenever I post about it, even on Instagram. I always get so many comments and engagement and questions, so I'm dumping it all here on YouTube. I'd rather be super transparent than pretend that I woke up like this naturally every single day. I also need to make this note: if you do decide to do something, you need to make sure that you are vetting the injector or the practitioner that you are going to. Whenever you're doing anything cosmetic, you need to do your research and you need to make sure you are going to someone that has really great work and has a lot of experience in the field. I'll make sure to drop everyone who I see in Miami in the description because a good practitioner matters more than anything. And now that I got through all my disclaimers, let's jump into it. Okay, let's start with Botox because this is probably the most obvious one. I am 34 and I started getting Botox in my beginning of my 30s. I would say I get baby Botox. I keep it pretty light. I don't like to have a frozen face. That's just, again, my personal preference. I do like to still have some movement. Living in Miami, I am also squinting a lot because of the sun. Now that I have LASIK eye surgery, I am not squinting as much because I can see a lot better, but I get normally in my crow's feet, some in my forehead. Recently, when I went to my last appointment, Juliana also put some Botox in my chin just to create a little bit more like length here. She said I was creasing and that we needed to, fix that up. So again, that's why we trust who we are going to. And I do just feel like it keeps me looking fresh and young. Another form of Botox that I did is masseter Botox. So if you don't know, this is your masseter muscle here. I was holding, and a lot of us hold a lot of tension. I used to grind my teeth really badly at night, and when I looked at my face prior to getting the masseters, to be honest, I actually never noticed it. It was another injector who I was first seeing in Miami who pointed it out to me. I was super wide, and then she asked me, like, do you clench a lot? Do you get headaches? And then I started realizing, yes. So I did my first round last year. It lasts for about 8 months to a year. It dramatically changed the amount of tension that I was holding in my jaw. So that was kind of number one, and a lot of people do get it when they have TMJ, which is basically just like a lot of clenching in their jaw, and also they get issues at night. Mine wasn't super extreme. When you start tuning into the fact that you're clenching and holding a lot of tension there, when you have that relief because you literally can't tighten this muscle anymore when you get Botox, that's the whole point, you notice a massive release. So I had that one time and then I thought that it got better, but then again, when I saw Juliana a few weeks ago, she suggested, from looking at my before and after photos from when I first saw her about 6 to 8 months ago to now, that my jaw's gone a lot wider, and she recommended I do it again. So I did, and it really does slim down this part of your face. And I am really happy I did it because my jaw muscle was getting overdeveloped. As I mentioned with the masseter Botox, I noticed a big difference in jaw tension and tightness, headaches, soreness, and just how much pressure I was holding in my face overall. So that is the deal with Botox. Next is lip filler, and again, super, super minimal. I started at the same time as Botox, and I get this done about twice a year, half a syringe. You never want someone to look at you and be like, oh yeah, she has filler or work done or whatever. For me, that's part of who I am and my brand and my image, and just, again, who I naturally want to be. I want to look natural. I don't want to have that quote unquote Miami look where you have like massive boobs and massive lips and faces like completely tight. No, I want to look like me still. I just want a little enhancement. So by doing a little bit of lip filler, it just helped balance out my lip profile. I naturally have a little bit bigger of a bottom lip and not so big upper lip. So we just, again, it looks super natural. It also helps your lips to look a little bit more like full and hydrated, but it's one of those things that can go wrong really fast. Thankfully, unlike Botox, with filler, you can remove it, you can get it dissolved, but you don't even want to get to that point. So if you are going to do it, make sure you are super subtle. The other thing that I recently did with regards to lip filler is I actually got it removed. I got it dissolved because lip filler can migrate. So we removed it and we put in PDGF here, which is a growth factor. Basically what Juliana explained to me is when you get lip filler and it migrates, and it happens to everyone, if you dissolve it but you don't basically refill that area with something, if you get lip filler again, it's naturally just gonna go back to that place. So we put PDGF, which I'll get to next here, to stop any future lip filler that we do put in from going back up there. I didn't have like really bad migration, but it was there. So we took care of that, and I think that's a little pro tip because I'm not sure that so many people know that. One of my favorite things that I have done is PDGF under eyes. I would say beginning of last year that I was really starting to lose volume underneath my eyes. I had, especially on the one side, basically like an indent. I didn't always have that, but as the years went on, as I started to get a little bit older and approaching my mid-30s, I did notice that volume loss. So the first thing I did at the beginning of 2025, I did 2 sessions of PRFM. What is that? Essentially, you are spinning your own blood. It's kind of like PRP, and then you are re-injecting it under eyes. I didn't notice a big difference with that, if I'm completely honest, and it is expensive. Everything that I'm talking about today, it all costs money. So I don't wanna say it was a waste. I just didn't get the same results as I did with PDGF, which is a growth factor. So my first session of PDGF was last August. We put it under eyes. I had another session 8 weeks after that, so I think in October time. After even the first session, the before and after was already crazy. Again, I have shared this on Instagram, the response. There's so many people going into Amy Peterson studio now in Miami to get this treatment because they saw my results and they're like, we'll take whatever she is having. I know that in Canada, I don't believe you can do that yet there. In the US, it is a little bit of a gray area and it can be controversial, but I always vowed that I would not put filler in my face other than in my lips. So this is a more natural form and does something similar to what filler would do. I mean, it's filling your under eye, but it works by stimulating collagen production. It repairs the tissue. It also regenerates the skin and improves the quality of the skin over time. So I did 1 session August, 2nd session October. I did my 3rd session about a month ago, but honestly, I only needed it on one side where I had a little bit deeper of a crease, and then that's why we put the remainder of the syringe in my upper lip to fill that. And I am so happy, like you can see under my eyes here that they are pretty full. There's no filler. It's stimulating my own natural collagen production, and it is my favorite thing I think that I have done. My boyfriend Gad, also by the way, you know who he is. He naturally has very sunken in under eyes, and he just did his first round of PDGF, and wow. It already has made the biggest difference, so much more brightness to his under eyes. Maybe I'll try to get his before and after from Juliana so I can show you, but it really does work. Another thing I tried recently was Renuva, and I didn't even know what it was until I was sitting in my injector's chair and she was doing the PDGF, and again, she was looking at the symmetry of my face and she recommended Renuva. I wanted to, of course, do a deep dive into it before I decided to go ahead. So when I went back for my follow-up appointment, I ended up putting Renuva mid-cheek. Again, it's more of like a natural approach. It is not filler. It is a regenerative treatment. And basically it acts like more of a scaffold. So it helps your body actually create not collagen, but actual fat cells over time, which is amazing. Again, this is something that we don't necessarily want to be doing all of the time with Renuva. I think like once you get it, it lasts for 3, 4, 5, 6 years because again, you're not injecting yourself with something, you're helping stimulate your own fat cells. And that just kind of helped lift everything here, and it took away a lot of the creasing that I was starting to get here. Again, these are things, to be honest, I wasn't really noticing, but it's little tweaks here and there that once you get it done, you're like, wow, it makes a really big difference. Let's talk lasers. So there are so many different lasers on the market. It can be really overwhelming. I went to go see my dermatologist, Dr. Stacy Chimento, again in Miami, and she, for me, recommended Pico laser, P-I-C-O. And especially for anyone living in a sunny environment, this laser is amazing because it's very minimal downtime. It's not super harsh. Your face is red, I would say, for about 24 hours, and then it starts to heal after that. It is really great for skin pigmentation, dark spots, sunspots. I had literal, like, bigger dark spots on my face that crusted up and fell off. I was in shock. It was pigmentation that I was trying to get rid of with creams and all the things and even microneedling for years. And after one session of Pico, it completely like fell off and worked. So I ended up doing 3 sessions of that. I'm definitely going to be upkeeping that as well. I really do love microneedling, and I did it last year. I did it with salmon sperm, I did it with PRP, I did it with exosomes. And yes, it definitely improves the texture of your skin, and it's really great for resurfacing your skin. But if you're trying to specifically target pigmentation, definitely look into Pico. That is the only laser that I have done. I know there's BBL and Moxie and a plethora of other lasers on the market. So do your research there. For me, Pico was amazing. I love it. I know other women in Miami that swear by Pico as well. And on top of it being really great for pigmentation, it also really helped my skin to look very clear and bright and healthy and just youthful. So yes to the Pico laser. Okay, now moving on to my body, because it has been about 2.5 years since my first boob job. It's been about 1.5 years since my second boob job, but I still get asked in comments on YouTube, on DMs on Instagram, every single week about either one of the procedures. So here's the story. I wanted to get my boobs done, and I didn't love the idea of implants at first. I did a lot of research, and I found, to my surprise, I had no idea that it even existed. I didn't like see it somewhere and then look into it. I was doing my research on, are there any more like natural, more like healthy alternatives to implants? So I stumbled upon the fat transfer boob job. I reached out to a doctor in Miami that a few of my friends went to, and I asked if he did this procedure. He said that he did. So I went, Dr. Kraft in Miami, Philip Kraft, he's amazing. So I went to go see him, and he said that I was a pretty good candidate for the boob job. Of course, when you're doing a natural boob job, they need to take the fat from somewhere. So I get asked all the time, well, where did you take it from? I took a little bit from my inner thigh and my outer thigh. I didn't take all of the fat that was there. I mean, to be honest, I still have my problem spot in my body, I would say is more my lower body. So when people say, you got fat grafting and you took fat out of your body, yes, I did, but it was so minimal that it really did not make a huge difference in my body. And I do not credit any of my transformation to that. Let me make that very clear. But I did the procedure, we put it in. The initial results, of course, are amazing. When you get the procedure done right away, you have 100% of the fat. But over time, what starts to happen, and they tell you this prior to going into the surgery, that your body starts to break down the fat that they have now injected. So typically you lose about 50 to 70%, I believe, is what they told me. And I would say that that happened. So again, maybe like 6 months to 8 months after my fat transfer boob job surgery, I was at the point where I was getting to my final results. Yes, they were definitely bigger than what I started with, but it wasn't necessarily like the results that I had hoped for and that I wanted. I will say now that I know at least Dr. Kraft has a machine that he uses. I don't know the details or even what it's called, but he does it a different way now, which apparently preserves the fat a little bit more. So if you are interested in that method, definitely look into that and see some of those results. So I went back to Dr. Kraft and I was like, okay, I love the little increase in size that I got. I was still the same bra size, by the way, but I think I want implants. I think, I was a guinea pig. I tried this first. I shared my journey, but now I think that I do want the implants. So that is what I did. December 2024, I got implants, 180 cc under the muscle. Unfortunately, I have really bad timing with when I got both of my boob jobs, because when I got the implants, the Motiva implant wasn't FDA approved in the United States yet. It got approved maybe 4 or 5 months after, at the beginning of last year. But if I would have had the choice to get Motiva, I would have gone that route, because there is apparently less inflammation and less issues with that implant specifically. And my friend who got a boob job in Europe, she got the Motiva implant a few years ago and really, really loved it. But nonetheless, I have silicone, 180 cc, under the muscle. I am so happy with the results. I love them. I feel like it looks super natural. I feel like the size fits my body. It's the same thing with the boobs. It's the same thing with the face. I don't know what you want, but for me, I want to still look like me, and I want everything to look natural. I want someone to look at me and not be sure if I have implants or if I don't have implants. That is always the goal. And because I did already start with a B cup, I had a little bit of fat. That's why the size of my implant is a lot smaller than what people would normally get, because again, I just wanted a little increase in size. I get asked all the time about breast implant illness. Yes, that is something that of course crossed my mind, which was why I wanted to avoid it if I could. But after talking to a lot of healthy women who are in the same space as me that have implants, everyone kind of gave me the same feedback, that they felt good. They didn't feel like the implant was impacting them. But again, full disclaimer, I think that breast implant illness 100% exists. Does it exist in every single one of the 35 million women all around the world that have implants? No. But there is a possibility that your body is going to reject the foreign object that is placed within your body. So when you are getting implants, of course, there is risk associated with the procedure, and you don't really know what's gonna happen until you try. So again, that was the risk that I took. I feel completely fine. I don't think that anything has changed. I do not think that it is affecting me at all. If I were to take these out and get another implant, it would definitely be Motiva. I am hoping that in 5-10 years, if we can find cures for cancer, we should be able to find a more natural solution to boob enhancements, if that's my personal opinion. But that is what I did to my body. That is it. Just a couple tries of implants. And if you do still have questions, if I am missing anything about that, let me know below in comments. At the end of the day, I do want to say this because I think it is important. None of what I just mentioned above is as important as the basics. I have seen the biggest difference in my glow up journey throughout the years by mastering daily habits that are super simple that everyone can do. So focusing on nervous system regulation, eating healthy, working out, getting solid sleep, so crucial and important. Limiting alcohol and processed food, walking, getting in my steps, the sunlight, the fresh air, all the things. Taking care of yourself consistently, that is what matters, and that is what will give you that true transformation. The rest is just adding a few tweaks and enhancements here and there. I also am not trying to look 21 forever. I think that there is such a beautiful and graceful part to aging, and as women, we really should be embracing ourselves throughout the entire stage. But I also do enjoy adding in these subtle little enhancements that give me a little bit more of a refresh and make me feel confident. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything that I talked about today, we are open to receive it all. Let me know below in comments. I want to hear from you. If you've done a treatment that you think has been game-changing for you, trust me, girl, we want to know. Thank you as always for being here, and this was a fun one. I will see you all next time.